This past week, I'm sure every one of you, if you didn't, I don't know where you had your head, but I'm sure everybody in here was watching that hurricane this week to see where it was going to go, what it was going to do, and that was a powerful, awesome hurricane. It's still going, matter of fact. And there's some one thing that stuck in my mind as I kept day after day watching, and this past week, the hurricane, as I kept watching, they kept giving warnings to people. Warnings. They were told I had an appointment in Brunswick, and they shut down Brunswick. Told them to get out and evacuate right away. And they did. That was a warning. Well, from Bahamas all the way to Canada near about now, they keep giving these warnings and warnings and warnings. And you know, some people just won't take heed to a warning. They're going to do it their way. Well, it's just a Cat 3. I've been on before. Well, it turned into a Cat 5. And a lot of those people lost their lives. That's the way it is with us in a spiritual way, too, that we get these warnings and we don't take heed to them. How would you define warning? A warning. If I give you a warning,
Give us good advice
advice.
about something that's going to happen.
Here's Webster's definition of it. Warn is to tell a person or a danger of coming evil, misfortune, or caution. When somebody says warning, that's a caution to you. You listen up what's going to happen here, what's going to happen. Well, we get, economically, we have warnings. Gas prices are going to go, we get all uptight about them things and warnings about that. And stop signs, that's a warning. But all these are natural warnings, but the Bible, there's always been impending times of trouble for God's people. And the Bible tells us there's a way to escape all of this. And we're going to look at some different examples of people that had warnings, but they took heed to the warning. Over in Hebrews chapter 11, he warned Noah and his family about the coming flood and directed them how to prepare and to survive. It says over in Hebrews 11:7 that Hebrews 11:7 says, by faith, being warned of God. Does God give you warnings? Sure He does. By faith, being warned of God for things not yet seen, and moved and feared, prepared an ark, saving his house, or delivering his house, by which he condemned the world, and it became heir righteous by faith. Was Noah warned of God about something of trouble that was fixing to come, and he was telling them to be cautious and beware and watch out and look out? Well, Noah moved with fear. Now, was Noah scared of God? He wasn't scared of God. That's a righteous fear is that we honor God. God told Noah exactly the way to escape and to take heed to the warning. What did he tell you, Chris?
He told me he had to build an ark.
Right? He had never built an ark before, had he?
No, and it took great faith because it was of things not yet as seen.
That's right.
And nobody ever seen rain.
Exactly. But he was warned of God to build that ark. Well, by faith he did that. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, and evidence of things, like you said, not seen. Okay? So he moved with that enthusiasm to build an ark, and he started building it. And what happened to all the people? They were warned that they died. I could see the water. Now, there has never been no rain. We all know that. And the mist come out of the ground. Well, this big old ark that he built starts floating, and water starts coming in, and it gets like this hurricane. Well, just coming up, just one after wave after another. And he took heed to warning. But the results was those that took heed to the warning. How many souls were saved? 8. 8 people. Now, don't you imagine they were beating on the door, that big door that trying to let me in. They didn't believe God. They didn't take heed to the warning, did they? So they were trying to get in, but they couldn't. And many times we're like that. God has warned us, and warned us, and warned us, but we won't take heed. One of the warnings that I noticed something this morning as I was trying to go over my notes, and I've seen something come out of Proverbs that really, I told Dennis, I said, come here, I want you to look at this. And something come out of Proverbs that I want you to kind of look up on. But Solomon, it's in Proverbs chapter 1. Just turn to Proverbs chapter 1, if you would. And it says in Proverbs chapter 1, my son, you see who he's talking to? He says, my son, if what? Sinners entice thee, consent thee not. My son, who's he talking to? My son. Don't go along with the sinners. I got that scripture, Proverbs 1:10? Mm-hmm. Okay. My son is sinners entice thee. Don't go along with it, in other words. That's a warning. But he said, my son. That's the part that I looked at. Now, in chapter 2, what's he start off with? Proverbs chapter 2. My son. Chapter 3, what did he say? My son. Skip on down to 5, 6, and 7. I think it's 5, 6. Yeah, 5, 6, and 7. Every one of them starts off warning the son not to go along with these things. And the Bible tells us over in Matthew 6, well, take heed that you don't do your harm before men to be seen of them. Otherwise you have no reward. That's a warning of God. God keeps warning his people over and over and over. And it says over in Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21, it says, prove all things, hold fast that which is good. When he says prove all things, you remember the Bereans? He told the Bereans over there in 2 Timothy 2:15, I believe it is, to study to see if those things be so. So we need to study, and because, why? Why do you need to study? It's a warning to us. God gives us a warning when we study his word, because there's false prophets out there, and there's people out there like wolves in sheep's clothing. You've read that before. And he's warning us against these things that's coming, and we're trying to destroy us. So we need to take heed to the warning that God has given us. Bible's full of different ones that warn. Now here's some there that are warned of. Abraham was warned, and Lot was warned. Turn to Genesis 18, and Brother David, you want to read 20 through 33. It's kind of lengthy reading, but think about being warned of God, and think about America. I want you to think about those two things. The 18th chapter of Genesis, start with verse 20. Listen real close.
Read through 20 what?
2:33. Kind of lengthy.
And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is coming to me, and if not, I will know. And the men turned their face from thence and went toward Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord. And Abraham drew near and said, wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Peradventure there be 50 righteous within the city, wilt thou destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked, that be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? And the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then will I spare all the place for their sake. And Abraham answered and said, behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord, which am but dust of ashes, dust and ashes. Talking about himself. Peradventure, thou shalt peradventure there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous, wilt thou destroy the city for the lack of 5? And he said, If I find there 40 and 5, I will not destroy it. And he spake unto him yet again and said, Peradventure there shall be 40 found there. And he said, I will not do it for 40's sake. And he said unto him, O let not the Lord be angry, and I speak, peradventure there shall be 30 be found there. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And he said, Behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord, peradventure there shall be 20 found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 20. And he said, O let not the Lord be angry. I speak yet but this once. Peradventure 10 shall be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake. And the Lord went his way, and as soon as he had left communing with Abraham, and Abraham returned into his place.
I thought, and I said, think about America today. You see what's happening here in this 18th chapter? If I could find 50, I mean, I want you to show me 50 righteous people. What does righteous mean?
Live right according to God's word.
All right, just plainly, it's pretty well self-explanatory about do what's right. And here he's saying, if I could find 50 righteous, I'm going to spare the place. Did you find 50?
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's make it 40. But if you find 40 righteous, I'm going to spare you. Uh-oh. How about 30? Well, how about 20? How about 10? I mean, just 10 righteous people in Sodom and Gomorrah, I'll spare it. Think of America. Can you find 50 righteous? Can you find 40, 30? We're getting on down right where they are, and their level. Worse than the level. I've heard people say, well, we need to apologize to Sodom and Gomorrah the way we live in. And in a lot of sense, that's true. Because this nation is going down, 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 and it's spiraling just, and it's fixing to end. And I'm not no prophet prophesying what time of day or whatever, but I know what God's word says. It says that he will destroy you. We have a jealous God. We got a God he's a consuming fire God. And he's going to bring us down more. We don't want to hear that, do you? I don't want to hear it. God, don't take me down. Well, where's all the 50s and 40s and 30s? We're falling down all the time. Over in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 10, it says, know in the last days there shall be what? Perilous times. What's perilous mean? Destructive times. This know in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves. You know anybody that loves their own self? I do sometimes. I love myself sometimes, and I don't think of others. Well, I fit into the category of not doing what's right. I'm living. This is talking about back then now. In Matthew chapter 24, the destruction of Jerusalem, he gives them a warning over and over and over. He says, you need to flee to the mountains. That's what he told them in Matthew 24. Well, why? Because perilous times are coming. Jerusalem was fixing to be destroyed. And around 70 AD, Jerusalem was destroyed and burnt to the ground. And those that was doing what was right did flee to the mountains. And there was a way to escape. God gives us a way to escape if you just do what's right. You believe that, Brother David?
I do.
If you just do what's right, now it may be hard on you, but if you do what's right, God will spare you and your life and your household if you just do what's right. So he couldn't find that. Now listen to what Lot, and this is in the 19th chapter, we're in the 18th chapter there. Lot was also warned in his family of coming destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, and they were told to flee. That's a warning here. If you flee, that's a warning for you. In Genesis, start with verse 19, 19th chapter of Genesis, verses 12. Read that, Brother Chris, and read through about 14, 12 through 14. Think about Lot is in Sodom and Gomorrah.
And the men said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides, son-in-law and thy sons and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord hath sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out, and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters. The Lord being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for thy life, look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain, but escape from the mountain, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, Oh, not so, my Lord. Behold, now thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life, and I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die.
That's far enough. Lot went out and staked his sons-in-law and they was trying to get to his married daughters, and he said, Get ye up, get you out. That's a warning to them. Over and over and over, teaching about warning. Was Pharaoh warned of God? When was he warned of God, brother?
Whenever Abraham would go to Pharaoh and tell him that let his people go.
That was a warning.
I'm sorry, Moses.
I thought about whenever there's 7 lean years and then 7 years of plenty. And God used Joseph to warn them about that, and they did. They did warn. They were. It says in the coming famine, and he used Joseph to prepare the store of grain during 7 years of plenty, which saved Egypt and Joseph's family when they 7 years of famine followed the times of plenty. You can read about that in Genesis chapter 41, 30, and 31. It talks about the famine and the plenty. Israel has been warned over and over. They were warned by the angel of death. You know that? Hung upon the post and all those things. And here's what it says in Exodus 12:23. For the Lord will pass through the snout of the Egyptians when he seeth the blood upon the lintel, the 2 sides posts. The Lord will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come into the house to smite you. So they was warned. Israel had been warned. Jonah had been warned. I'm not going to go into all those about Jonah. We know how he was told to warn the big city Nineveh. But there's many, many warnings that we need to take heed to these warnings. The word take heed and beware, those are warnings. When you see those take heed or beware, we got a couple of scriptures I want you to think about that's giving us that warning that God has given us out of His Word. In Corinthians, you got to turn there, in 1 Corinthians 10:12 it says, Wherefore let them that thinketh he stand take heed lest he fall. Can we fall fast? We need to take heed to that. In Timothy 4:16 it says, Take heed unto thyself and to the doctrine, continue in them, for him doing this, it shall both save thyself and them that hear thee. So there's a take heed. Hebrews chapter 3:12 says, Take heed, brethren, this is God's people, but let there be any of you of evil heart of unbelief departing from believing God. We need to take heed. Can we depart from believing God? Yeah. We do it all the time. Matter of fact, it says in Deuteronomy, we forget God sometimes. We just not only depart, but we actually forget. But we need to be taking heed. And I mentioned this a while ago about take heed that you don't do your alms or your works to be seen of men, because that's a warning to you. But we need to listen. Not only do we need to take heed, we need to beware. What does beware mean? Watch out. Watch out. In Matthew 7:15 it says, Beware of false prophets. We touched on that. Are they false prophets out there? Are there gods out there? There's little gods. We're not to love the world or the things in the world, or love the Father is not in you. If you serve other gods, you have been warned by God that it's wrong. You're doing wrong. In Colossians 2:8 says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit and traditions of men after the rudiments of the world and not after Christ. We need to take heed and beware of what's going on around us. I remember that old robot on, I think it was Lost in Space. You don't remember Lost in Space? I see 50 or better, you probably remember. Some of you may not remember. You remember 50?
We watched it on Nick at Night.
Wasn't it Timothy that had the robot? He had that robot anyway 50 years ago. He used to love to watch it. It was in black and white, and we had. I was up in age when we got TV. Anyway, having Lost in Space or Outer Space or something come, but Timmy always get in trouble, and here come that robot. Warning, warning, warning. Remember how you do that? And then they had short circuit him somehow, and he'd fall over like he did. But we need to take heed the warnings like Timmy's robot did. And they unplugged that rascal, and he wasn't worth a nickel. And I get mad when I went to him whenever they'd unplugged him. The old robot would watch after Timmy. And we got somebody that watches after us. Our God watches after us, and He takes care of us, any situation there is. So we need to take heed to the warning of God. Anybody got anything? Brother David, you just listen.